here we go.
Hello, everybody, and good morning. This is David Harris. I will be presenting the business team meeting for December 14th. This is a pre-recorded meeting so that it can be played back tomorrow. So unfortunately, it won't be live, but I'll tell you how to ask questions at the end of the presentation. So today, we're going to be talking about the back office. I've seen several requests lately for people. There's a lot of new people on the team over the last year since I last talked about this. A lot of people curious how they can make the best use of their back office or virtual office, as some people call it. And so I will be introducing that to you, and hopefully you'll see some features that maybe you weren't aware of before, so that you have some tools available to you to teach your people as they enroll, and people to be able to help them get quickly up to speed on how to use their back office the most effective way. Before we get going, since this is a business team meeting, I want to remind you that the frankincense promotion is still ongoing throughout December. If you make any order, standard order, LRP order, any retail order, any order of 200 PV or more during December, you'll get a free frankincense, a full 15 milliliter bottle of frankincense with your order. I think there's a limit of 4 per household, but other than that, go ahead and make as many orders as you want to, and a 200 PV order will get you your frankincense this month. So moving into the presentation material, hopefully you're all familiar with this screen. This screen is where you log in to your back office, and it's very simple. This is something you can tell your people as they enroll. It's also included in the welcome letter they get, and also part of their enrollment package. I believe tells them World Wide Web or www.mydoterra.com, and it brings them to this page. Now, if it's their very first time, they'll need to enter their ID, and then they'll be setting up a password if they haven't already set that up as part of their enrollment, but they do need to enter their doTERRA ID the first time in order to register. After that, so that's on the right-hand side. After that, it's always going to be on the left-hand side. So you just put in your member ID number, which is your wellness advocate number, and then your password, and click submit, and that takes you in. Okay, now if you do have questions or concerns or just want to know how to reach the help desk or the member support group, it's all right here. Okay, so doTERRA toll-free number, and then also the email. And I found that the help desk is really, really good at doTERRA. It's real-life people. They answer quickly, and they answer your questions. There's also a chat feature that's available when you're in the shopping section and in your cart that also I found to be very good. Okay, so now we're in, and this is typically the first page that it'll take you to, which is the shopping page. That kind of makes sense. We are a company that sells high-quality products, and so your first view is going to be the shopping page. You can see up there towards the top of the white area, that's where the monthly promotions are going to be. So if you're ever wondering what the 10% off product is, what the free product of the month is, what the what's going on within corporate. Now this is a fairly old one. This is from January, and so you can see that they're advertising the leadership retreat and one of the New Year promotions that they do and things like that. But that's all going to be right there, and it's going to have new products as they're introduced, any specials, things like that. In fact, this month that's where you can find the Christmas catalog. Okay, and then down below you can see that's really the catalog. So it's a full color living catalog. It's live. You can click on any of those areas and it'll take you into the catalog. The nice thing about the catalog, in case you're not aware, is that when you look at individual products, especially the oils, oftentimes there's a link where you can click on other resources, and sometimes there's a video explaining the product. Sometimes there's a product information sheet, which is very nice. It lays out everything you need to know about the product in a very compliant way. And also you can get high-quality photos of the products from within this. Okay, so when you're shopping, there's other things you can do besides just type in the name of the product. Although if you go up to the right-hand side, there is a new item search. This whole format was introduced just over a year ago. And you can type in partial words, or you can just type in On Guard, for example, and it will list all the products that have On Guard in it, so the entire family of products. Now, I did find that if it's too long, like there's a lot of On Guard products, it may not list all of them, and so you may still have to search around a little bit. But it's if you know exactly what you want, that's a really quick way without having to click and navigate through the catalog. But I do like to navigate, and I do like people to navigate through the catalog because you often see things that you weren't aware of that you might want to try. Okay, so keep that in mind too as you're training people. Okay, now the most important thing that I use on this page is the scheduled LRP orders. From right here, you can click on the number under Edit. If you have one order or two orders or three orders, they will all show up there. You can click on the number, and it will take you right into your current LRP order where you can make changes. Within the order or from here, you can also click the Ship Now button, which will cause it to ship immediately no matter when it was originally scheduled. Now here's the nice thing. If it was scheduled for later in the month and you're going to be missing out on your pre-product of the month and all the dates are grayed out because they're already full, you can still set up your order early in the month, click Ship Now, and it'll go immediately regardless of the schedule, and you can get your free product of the month. It also is smart enough that it will keep your original shipment date and ship it out 1 month. Okay, so if you're originally scheduled to ship on the 10th of February and you decide you want it on the 5th and you hit Ship Now, it'll ship on the 5th or process on the 5th and ship right after that. And then it'll update your LRP to ship on the 10th of the next month. So you don't mess up your normal date when you ship early. This is also really useful if you want to have more than one LRP order during the month. You can set it. You can click on Create New LRP Order. It doesn't mess up your old one. You can put whatever you want into it. You can say Ship Now, and it'll ship immediately, or you can choose a date and have 2 LRPs set up. Now, the other nice thing about setting up 2 LRPs is you can, as soon as it processes, you can cancel that LRP without having to contact member support. Okay, so if you have more than one, then you're legal. If you try to cancel your last one, then you'll have to call contact member support because they want to talk you through that process and what it means. But if you've got more than one, you can cancel that almost immediately as soon as it processes. Okay, so those are all things you can do with the loyalty rewards. And I'm going to show you a little more detail about what that looks like on the next slide. Okay, so it takes you right into here. Now you can see everything a little bit bigger. I guess I should have got here earlier. But if you're not sure what's currently in your order, you can go to the cart or you can just click on the Edit. They both go to the same place. And this is where the live chat feature comes in that I talked about earlier down at the bottom. During normal business hours, it'll say live chat is online. You click on that, you put in your wellness advocate number, and you can start typing immediately, but you have to wait until an agent comes on the line before you actually send it. So oftentimes I'll just be typing because I know what my question is. And then when they come on the line, they'll introduce themselves and ask how they can help. If you're asking to do something financial or to change an order, they'll often ask for the last 4 digits of your Social Security number or for your birth date in order to verify that you're the right person working on the account and that you have the right to have access to that account to make changes. Okay, so it's fairly secure that way, and you can go in and make changes and use the chat feature to make things happen. Some of the things you want to have happen with live chat is if you want to use your accounts receivable balance. You have to either call in or use live chat for that. And the other thing would be is if you're canceling an LRP order, you have to actually make the phone call. And live chat is also good if you just want to make changes or switch something on an order that has processed but hasn't shipped yet. Sometimes you can do that if you're in time. Okay, but any question you have, whether it's about the order or anything else, any type of question you have, you can always call the member support line. You can always click on the chat feature and do it that way. Okay, this page, so these others were all on the shopping tab. So now we're going to go to the dashboard tab, which is, in my mind, the second most important tab that you'll ever work with. Okay, on the dashboard tab, you're going to have your information. It's really kind of like the snapshot of you and your month as it stands at any point in time during the month. Okay, so I've got some things blacked out here because it was confidential information, dollar signs and things like that. And so I didn't want to share all of that, but you can see all the relevant information. You can see at the top right-hand side, they're talking about the new enrollee share program, opt into the share program. So as you have people enroll and they get in here the first time and start looking around, make sure they realize that's where they can go. They can click on that and it'll take them to a place where they can opt in and enroll on that share program, and it tells them all about the share program. So that's really useful. People need to know about that, and this is a way to help teach them putting all the information at their fingertips without you having to remember everything and make sure that you got it all. Okay. Now over underneath the picture is the LRP status. So that'll tell you how many points you have, what your current percent rebate is because of the Loyalty Rewards program, and then it also has information about your current LRP, whether you have one or more. And this is exactly the same as the window I just showed you. You can click on the highlighted number there, and that'll take you into your order where you can work with it. Okay. Now if you go straight over to the right a little bit, that shows you your qualifications. So as your month advances, it'll start, your highest rank will start to change. We all start out as consumers at the very first of the month, whether you're Justin Harrison at Presidential Double Diamond or someone else. And so all of us start over every month. But if you want to see what you were last month or the month before, you can use the drop down next to period, and that'll take you there. It'll say what your total team volume is for the month, and also whether you've met the 100 or 50, depending on your rank, if you've met the PV requirement for the rank that you're looking at. So in this case, it shows that at this point I was Premier. I had my 100 order in. I had almost the entire 5,000 I needed for Premier, and I had my 2 executive legs set up. Now, this is really useful because if you want to see what would it take to be Silver, you just click on that drop-down box next to Premier, and you can select Silver, and it'll show you where you are in relation to Silver. Okay, so maybe one of these executive legs was also an elite leg, and that would show up then under the Silver. Okay, so that's really useful. Play around with that a little bit. And then right underneath that is your Power of 3 summary. So this is really something you want to be watching every month as the month progresses to see how far are you off your 600 volume, and then also how far are you off your 250 if you're getting your 50, or how far are you from your 50. As that shows up, you can click on full detail or filter detail, and it'll do a little graphic that I think I have a picture of a little bit later, a little graphic that'll show you exactly which legs are qualifying you for your Power of 3 bonus and how much they have to go, or who's in that leg, and just your whole status. So it's really nice to see for that. You can click on the 50 to see where you need to be for your 50. You can click on the 250 or the 1500, and it will show you your whole organization that could qualify you for the 1500 or the 250 or the 50, and then what the status is of all the people there. Now, one thing to keep in mind on your qualifications, and also for Power of 3, is you have to have already processed your at least 100 PV order, or 50 if you're at a lower rank. But if you have your 100, and hopefully it's 125 PV at least, so that you can get your free product of the month. But once that's processed, then you'll be able to start to see how your rank is advancing. Okay, so that's important to know. Don't be too concerned if you have high volume and your order just hasn't gone through yet. You won't be above consumer until your order goes through. So some people like to have it processed very early in the month because they just like to be able to watch that then progress during the month. Okay, now, under my earnings, I have some other slides that will tell you more about that, but that's a really useful thing too when you start to get your Fast Start bonuses and you start to earn your commissions. Those are really key. They're little graphs. They're covered up now because it's confidential and private information, but really good information there, and they're live. You can click on those, and I'll show you how that looks in a minute. Now, not showing here because I wanted to blow up the screen a little bit. There's other links down below on this same dashboard tab where you can look at your monthly activity, like your top enrollers, any new rank advancements, and other detailed information for the month for your enrollees. The top enrollers and rank advancements, you can also go back and look at prior periods, so you can keep track of that. And that's really nice to be able to congratulate people as they go through the month. Okay. Now this is going to be the Team tab. So our first look at the Team tab. And when you first go into the tab, there's other things there that you can see. For example, it will show you, you can click on Graphical Tree, which shows you a nice pictorial view of your team. Although once you get more than about 50 people on your team, it starts to be too cumbersome and not quite as useful. You can look at your detailed genealogy, which is what I'm showing here. And you can also make sponsor changes from within the Team tab. So when you enroll someone, a lot of times they just go under you as the default, and then you want to make sure you place them somewhere within the first 14 days. So this is where you can make those changes. But what I'm showing you here is the best tool ever that I use all the time within doTERRA, and this is your detailed genealogy. Your detailed genealogy has all, I'm not showing the detail again because of confidentiality, but you can do filters. You can say I want to go down to 10 levels or 5 levels or just 1 level, whatever you want to do. You can do it by sponsor tree or by enrollment tree. Typically we're looking at sponsor, but once in a while you need to look at enrollment. And then you can show wellness advocates only, or you can show everybody, or you can show just your preferred customers. Okay. So down below you can see the type of information. So you can see the level in the organization. So anyone directly under you on the sponsor tree is going to be a 1. So you're 0, and then 1 and on down. You can see their name, their member ID, when they enrolled, who their sponsor is, at least the ID, and who their enroller is by ID. You can see when their last order date was, what type of member they are. Now most people are going to be wellness advocates, but some might be preferred customers, and they'll show up a little bit differently. You can see their current rank, which is the rank this month, but you can also see what's the highest rank they've ever achieved, and that's really useful sometimes. And so you can see that they've been elite, but this month so far they're director, but that they're well on their way to becoming a lead again or higher. You can see when their next LRP is scheduled to process and what the point value is of the next LRP. Now this is really, really crucial because this is where you can go through and help people. It's amazing how many times I've seen, we've got a nice promotion going for 200 PV, get a nice, 60 plus value bottle of oil, and the person has an order going through for 195 PV. And if you can catch it in time, you just need to write to them and say, hey, for 5 PV more, get yourself a bar of soap or get yourself some chapstick. Not chapstick, that's a brand name, but our lip peppermint and wild orange lip balm, and add that onto your order, and you're going to get a free bottle of frankincense, for example, for your order. Or you might see that their order is down because they included the holiday, some holiday orders, items that had PV, but in January those aren't for sale anymore, and so as their LRP tries to process again, those are dropped off, so now instead of being 125 PV, maybe they're only at 96. You don't want them to have a 96 PV order go through on their LRP because now they're not going to get paid their commissions. So things like that you need to help your people watch for, help them learn how to read this as well and know the rules. And then it's nice to be able to see the patterns. You can see November, December, and January were showed here because those were the prior 3 months. You can see what the total organization volume is and then the PV for each individual and how that rolls up. Very useful for evaluating whether or not you're close to a rank. To be able to see the total volume that you need and how close you are and where each of those links are. Okay, so make sure you make good use of this and teach your people how to use this because it's just so nice for yourself and also to be able to help people to catch the errors that they might have in their order, and also so that you can give incentive and encouragement to people at the right times as they're getting very close to a new rank. Okay, back to the dashboard tab. I said I would show you some information on the commission summary. So when you're on this tab, those are live links. And so you can click a data point, so you can see where the arrow's pointing on the 6-week Fast Start bonus. You can click on one of those data points, and it'll download a PDF file detail sheet that then you can print out or look at, and that will have all the detailed information for your Fast Start bonus. It'll have the names and the order size and whether you're getting the 5%, the 10%, or the 20% back, depending on their level in the organization. And so that's really useful. The other one that the arrow is pointing to is the primary bonus, which is the commission. It's the leadership performance bonus, anything basically that you're being paid for that's not Fast Start. You're going to be able to see the detail by clicking on the data points here, and then we'll bring it up. Now, if you want to see all of the information in one place, then you click on the commission summary. If you want to see all the financial information, the numbers, instead of just the graph, then you'll be clicking on the commission summary. The commission summary will bring up graphs, and it'll also have a table, and I'll show you that a little bit more detail in the next slide. Something else that's also very useful for me is the accounting query. So the accounting query is basically the detailed transactions on your account for any purpose. So it's your own personal orders and payments. It's your own personal use of your accounts receivable balance. It's also your commission payments, your bonus payments, any clawbacks, which means you were paid on an order and then they returned the order, and so you might they might take a little bit of that money back that you were paid since the order's not valid anymore. Things like that. So all of that will show up in your account inquiry. And I mentioned AR balance. The AR balance will happen sometimes because you might be paid less than $12, and so they're not going to write a check. They're just going to put that into your accounts receivable. There's other reasons it might happen. Anyway, different ways in account. Sometimes if you make a return rather than give you the charge back, they'll put it into your accounts receivable. But anyway, that's your money. So if you have an account receivable balance, make sure you're aware of that, and you can use that to offset your purchase sometimes. So you can pay with both your credit card and with your AR balance if you call the member support people and have them, or use the chat feature and have them work through that with you. Okay, so a more detailed view. This is the commission summary, how that looks. And I have some paper sheets here with notes and they got out of order. So what you can see here is that it'll show both kinds of commission. The primary bonus is your unilevel. Your secondary bonus is your fast start. Okay, so under your primary is unilever, power of 3, that's the other one I'd forgotten. Leadership bonus, and then your secondary is your fast start. You can review prior periods if you want. You can go to other years and see all the information for that year in the graph below. And then again, if you click on the node, you're going to get a PDF file that has all the detail for it. And then down below, you can also see in table format what the amounts are, in case you don't want to download or print anything. One thing about this is a fairly new version. It didn't used to be in graphical format. And if you want to see what it used to look like, and it's actually a pretty useful report, you can click on View Old Version, and that will take you to, actually takes you to the account inquiry, which we're going to look at next, which gives you all the detailed information about your account. So that's a pretty useful place to click as well. So the account inquiry looks like this. It tells you all the different transaction types because we're listing all the transactions in a detailed way down below, and it's listed by month. And so you can see all the information and the dates and when it happened, all the different types of bonuses and how much it was and when it was paid and what your AR balance is, all that type of thing. You can choose a printer-friendly version, which is going to make it something that you can print out. Now, I'm an accountant anyway, and so I don't mind looking at this kind of stuff, and I can figure things out sometimes about the clawbacks especially, because you don't hear about them any other way. But it's also really good for your tax and account reconciliation purposes. So when you're preparing your taxes and you're trying to figure out how to match what you thought you got paid to what doTERRA is telling you got paid on your 1099, this is where you can go and go through the detail and figure out where the differences might be. Okay, so everything, purchases, payment type, all your bonuses, secondary and primary payments, any processing fees that happen, you're paying processing fee for checks, and if you are, I would quickly set yourself up for direct deposit, because then it's only 50 cents instead of whatever it is. It was like $5 or something almost. So set yourself up for direct deposit so your payments are a lot cheaper. And if there's withholdings for whatever reason, that's going to show up here, any clawbacks, and again, your account receivable running total, which you'll want to know. Okay, and then finally back to the dashboard, a little more detail on the power of 3. This is where you can see, you can click on any of these things. You can click on the 50 or the 250, and it will show you the detail. You can click on the full detail to see your whole organization. That would get up to your 1,500 bonus down to your 4th level. So this is what it looks like. Down below, you can see it's purple if they have a qualified order, and then it has that little doTERRA symbol if their group volume is at 600. And that means if they're purple and have a little circle, that means they're going to get their 50. Okay, so in this case, the top person is getting their 50, and since all 3 people underneath them are also getting their 50, the top person will actually be getting their 250. And that's how you can tell up here on the upper left-hand corner, both the 50 and the 250 are highlighted, and so that's how you know which bonus you'll be getting so far. Okay. Now, if you mouse over any of those little icons of those little people, you can see the name, the ID number, and their current LRP information. If you click on that person, it's going to put them in that number 1 spot at the top, and you're going to see the same graphical detail for that person's team. That can be useful because you might see someone who's almost looks like they should be getting their 50, but they're not. They don't quite have that little zero, or that little doTERRA O symbol there. And so if you click on that, you'll be able to see their organization, and you might be able to see who's going to be missing out or who you can talk to and help them get that $50 because they're very close. So this is useful to review to see who's close, and by maybe spending, maybe if they help the other person and bought 20 PV more of product, they're going to get $50 back. And so it might be worth it, or they might be very close to $250, and then it's worth it to spend a little bit more on product to be able to get that $250 bonus. Okay, so that's how that works and how you can use that very useful graphic. Okay, that's the presentation for today. Unfortunately, since this is just pre-recorded, I'm not going to be able to take any live questions, but what I'm going to do is post this on the Healthy Living Essentials Business Support Facebook group that you should be a member of. If you're not, you can contact your upline and make sure you get to be a member of that group. And if you do have questions, you can go ahead and type those there, and then I'll be able to see those and be able to get back to you. Okay? So that's the plan on questions. Just go ahead and ask them there, and that way everyone can participate in the questions, even if they're not able to attend at the right time for the meeting when this broadcast will be played, but listen to it later. Okay? So thank you for your participation, and hopefully you enjoyed this information and it's useful to you. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you.